Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. Today is Mother's Day. You know, we look at like a day like today and we sit and we think to ourselves, this is a good day to have, right? Especially if you love your mother, I love my mother very much. Played a huge role in my life. She's gotten very fucking crazy as the years went on. And that's fine. It's that's how it's supposed to go. If your mother, by the time you turn 21, by the time you turn 21, if your mother hasn't just absolutely lost her fucking marbles, something's happened, something's going on. I forgot my drink. Give me just a second. But if she's not lost her marbles, and she's not just fucking pissed every second of the day, something's going on, you know? And you need to look into it, you know? I remember being a child, just a young boy, a young lad, a young whippersnapper. And I remember my mother working a job and going to school full time. Remember the days of waking up, I'd see her in the morning, she'd take me to school, and then I wouldn't see her again until like 8 o'clock at night. And it was immediately right to bed as soon as she got home. And that was for I don't know, from the time I was 7 or 8 years old till the time I was 10. That she was going to school and working the full-time job. Then she went to school to become a cosmetologist, so she did hair, nails, feet, all that shit. Shouts out to her, dude, because I could never fuck with somebody's feet, Fucking with feet's just crazy, having, the dudes that run around out here that have foot fetishes that are religiously on Foot Finder, you're a sick fuck, alright? You need to be put down. That's just crazy. There's something just so abhorrently disgusting about feet, Fuck feet, dude. Not literally, figuratively, We don't fuck with feet around this part, Besides my mother. Happy Mother's Day to her, Happy Mother's Day to your mother. I realized I got it easy growing up compared to some of the horror stories I hear about other people, I remember being in high school and there was this guy named Randy that we went to school with. He was an oddball, he was a hop, skip, and a jump away from, probably not being able to hear correctly. He was, he was about 5 yards out from getting a safety almost every goddamn day of his life, He, he was, if normal basketball players shoot about 80% from the free throw line, well, he was shooting about fucking 5% from the free throw line, he didn't smell good, And I never was a bully in school. I'm just telling you things that you observe. You don't have to be a bully to just observe things, right? Kid was odd. I never told him that to his face. Never told anybody else that, right? Never was like behind his back going, oh, he's a fucking weird motherfucker, you know. Never said that. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're saying it right now. And I guess you have a point, you know. Maybe I am a bully. Who knows? But then I wasn't, you know. Now I am. But he smelled weird. Kind of to himself, you know. Never really talked much. He did get picked on. Quite ferociously, matter of fact. It was pretty depressing stuff. And this was like my sophomore year of high school. And I remember we were in there and we're just, you know, in algebra one day. Fucking hated algebra. Hated any math class. Besides geometry. For some reason, I understood geometry. I liked it. And I just went with it, you know. Maybe that's why I'm in construction now. You know, I do construction. I own my own business. I've not really talked much about my personal life on the show. So I give you a little glimpse of my personal life in today's, you know, show is, you know, I do construction and I was okay in geometry class, right? And I remember we were in algebra and there was like 2 weeks that went by and Mr. Randy did not show up. He wasn't there for like 2 straight weeks, and you know, the mumbles kind of filled the classroom, to which they went, you know, of where the fuck is Randy? Where's he at? I'm not seen him in a couple weeks. Noticeably, the classroom smelled a lot better, which is cool. You know, even if he was an odd kid, and even if he was, you know, he smelled bad, we didn't wish harm upon the kid, you know? We weren't like, thank God he's gone, you know? We were just like, you know, we were genuinely curious and maybe even worried in some regards to where the fuck is Randy, you know? Where'd he go? And so after about 2 weeks of this constant conversation of where the fuck is Randy, the teacher just couldn't shake the question any longer, you know? She knew where he was at. She knew, you know, what was going on. And she'd kind of held it from us because it was a very personal matter, right? And she comes in one day and she goes, all right, guys, we need to talk about something serious. Because, you know, you guys have been asking for the past couple weeks now where Randy's at. And, you know, I've been trying my best to kind of keep it away from y'all because I was hoping that he would just come back between now and then. Unfortunately, Randy's parents, his mom and his dad, were cooking meth in the house with Randy and his 2 younger siblings. And they were raided by police. I guess the police had been watching them for quite some time. They've been selling it out of the house. They've been cooking it out of the house. And they got 3 children. 3 literal fucking children living in this house. Because you're still considered a child until you're 18, right? So Randy, being 15, probably almost 16 years old, was still considered a child, right? And so you got 3 children living under the roof of this house. Meth is being cooked. It's being smoked. It's being sold. And, you know, she says this, and then out of the back of the classroom, you hear, and she's like, hey! That's not funny. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's not fucking funny. Like, that's horribly sad. Like, that is god awfully sad. I mean, that is brutally fucking sad. And then this bitch, this teacher, goes on to say, you know how he didn't smell good? It's like, what did you just say, bitch? She's like, you know how he smelled bad? He didn't smell good? That's because he smelled like meth. And we're like, bro, you're a fucking bully. Like, you're no better than we are. You're the teacher. You're no better than us teenage kids. She knew he smelled bad. And you know that she's over at her desk just thinking about it. She's like, God damn, he fucking stinks. And so I think it was that age, my sophomore year of high school. I think I was like 15 years old. And that was when I realized, you know, maybe maybe I've got it easy, you know? Maybe my life isn't as hard as what I'd like to think it is sometimes, you know? My mom's not out here cooking meth in the kitchen, you know? You come into my house and you smell something, it's because she's in there fucking... She's a demon in the kitchen, dude. My mother's always known how to cook, you know? You come in and you're smelling fucking green beans, mashed potatoes, cornbread, meatloaf, stroganoff, you know, chicken pot pie, chicken, burgers, hot dogs, potato salad, dude, just good ass fucking food, you know? Good ass, down south, country ass, bumpkin ass food, you know? So, you got people like Randy. And the last time I saw Randy was just like this past year. And obviously, you know, he's 30-year-old man now, just like me. And he's homeless. So this story is incredibly fucking depressing. You know, this is a horrible story. Randy's probably not celebrating Mother's Day with his mom today. He's, you know, on the streets somewhere, smoking the fent, you know. And I would imagine he's having a good time, you know. Like, he probably doesn't realize how sad his situation is, because it's what he knows, right? Like, it's what he knows, it's what he understands, it's what he thinks life is for people such as himself. So he's going to take a hit of fent today, a hit of meth, whatever. And he's going to be like, fuck yeah, dude. This is it. This is the life. These are the cards I was dealt, and I'm just fucking, I'm all in. I'm all in, brother. Pass the pipe. Pass the needle. I don't need a new syringe. Give me yours. Let's be syringe buddies. You know? He's probably just, you know, he's probably passing out on a couch right now, or in an alley somewhere with a syringe still in his arm, you know? Arm still tied off, you know? He's going to wake up, it's going to be completely numb, his whole arm. He's going to be like, fuck, man. He's going to be like trying to wake his arm up. You know, he's going to take the tourniquet off or whatever, the fucking band. Take the needle out. He's going to be sitting there fucking. Trying to get that shit back. So, you know, if you think that you got it bad with, you know, your mother or your parents or whatever the case may be, because I see so many fucking dumbass kids, even, and I say kids as in, like, you know, from like a parental standpoint, you know, whether you're 40 or 30 or 20 or what, however old you are, I see kids of parents that are just like, they're pissed off because their mom or dad or whoever, whenever they were a little kid, I don't know, fucking took one of their toys whenever they were younger and they just can't forgive them. And it's like, bro, you've got it easy. Or like, like kids that'll ruin like relationships with their parents over money, Maybe the parent was in a bad spot and the kid had to help them out, money wise, and then, they were like, yeah, I'll pay you back, and then they never did, and then they ended up just ruining the relationship because their parent never paid them back. And it's like, I think you're a brutal piece of shit, like, if this is the way that you treat your parents, if your parents never asked for the money back that they gave you whenever you were a young kid, right? Like, if that's the way that you're going to do it, then they should ask you for the money back for the car they bought you when you were younger, the cell phone they bought you when you were younger, the clothes they bought you when you were younger, the house that they kept you sheltered in. Maybe they should ask for all that money back, It happens a lot in the town that I'm in, where you have a lot of people that, they don't have relationships with their parents because, they're pissed off about just like the smallest things, They just look for a reason, to be pissed off, or they'll see other people that have bad relationships with their parents, and there's literally people out there that are jealous of that. They envy having that drama in their life. They want that drama. They want people that they can fight with, that they can blame shit on, And it's like, brother, go start a business. Trust me. You start a fucking business and try to work for something that's your own, you'll find some fucking drama. I promise you. You ain't got to go to mom and dad to find drama, Go try to make some really good money. And then you'll have some drama. But here's the difference. You'll have the drama that you've always sought after, and you'll get paid for it. It's incredible. It's this amazing thing that, you literally will get paid for it. Like good money. To have drama in your life. I deal with it every day, Like I said, I'm in construction. I own my own company. My own business. Deal with drama fucking 5 to 7 days a week. And I hate it. I hate the drama, I've never understood the mindset of wanting drama. People that are on Facebook and they live to argue and beef with people for free. They do this shit for free. They don't ask for no money. They just want somebody to fucking cuss out, They just want somebody that they can bitch out, that they can be mean to, It's like, dude, you could go get paid to do that. Like, but I get it. They have no skills, right? Like, there's no valuable skill in drama, It's like the famous old saying goes, it's a lot harder to be nice and respectful to people than it is to be mean to somebody. It's easy to say mean shit, you know? I can do that. Anybody can say some mean shit, you know? Anyways, I'm getting off the point here. The point is, Happy Mother's Day, you know? Be nice to your mother. She's not in the kitchen cooking meth, you know? Your mother's not, you know, cooking meth. That's it. She's not a drunkard, you know? There's some kids out here that had to grow up and live with their mom or dad being a raging alcoholic and just getting the shit kicked out of them 24/7, you know? And I think that's a pretty valuable lesson in life, you know? I think that you could take that base of upbringing and turn it into something truly exceptional. You never know. You could wake up tomorrow and your mother calls you and she says, I've got hantavirus. It's taken over my body. And the docs say I'm going to die any day now. And then you're going to be like, fuck. I knew I shouldn't have went on that cruise. I knew it. I knew I should have not went on that cruise. I should have just stayed home. Should have just stayed home. Shouts out to Randy, man. I hope he's able to find his way, you know? I hope that he's able to figure out you know, where it went wrong, you know, and how he can fix it. It's unfortunately it's highly unlikely, you know. Probably not going to happen. This is probably the rest of his life now. But for the sake of the show, let's just hope that Randy finds a way. You know? Let's hope that he can get out of it. I wonder what, you know, what somebody like Trump. What do you and your kids do for Melania on a day like today? The bitch has got it all, you know? There's nothing that you can get her or bring to her that she doesn't already have or that's not already been brought to her, you know? Like, what do you do on a day like today? What do you give that bitch, you know? Happy Mother's Day, Mom. We know that you didn't know who Epstein was. That seems like the best present you can give her right now. She's so caught up in it. She's out here giving press conferences, NBA post-game press conferences that nobody even asked for. Nobody even knew it was coming, you know? And I know this happened like what? It was almost a month ago at this point that this happened. But she just, she's randomly just telling people, did not know Epstein. I sent email with Epstein, but I don't know who Epstein is. I absolutely hate her English, by the way. That shouldn't even be considered fluent English, you know? Like, they claim that she's fluent in like 8 languages. And me personally, I'm like, no, she's not. She says shit that just makes no sense sometimes. And I can't point out directly what those things are. She mispronounces words constantly. My husband told me to take the advice of the people around me. And she means advice, but she'll say something like advice. This is nothing but propaganda against me as a person. She means propaganda, but she says shit like propaganda. Propaganda. She's not fluent in English. That's it. You know what you give somebody like Melania on Mother's Day? You know what you give her? I'll show you. Hold on. This is what you get, Melania. You get Melania Rosetta Stone. You sign her up for Rosetta Stone. And you say, here, you know, I know that you think that you're fluent in 8 languages. You're not. At the end of the day, you're just not. You don't. Do you know what? Do you know what Kim Jong Un got the world for Mother's Day? He came out and said that he has spoke with his regime, the people in his cabinet, and that he wants to basically create a system to where when he is assassinated, or if he is assassinated, that the nukes just go off. That it just starts sending nukes around the world. So they said, if somebody assassinates me, just launch the nukes, you know. We don't know who did it or if anybody actually is responsible for it. But just blow everybody up. Happy Mother's Day. Just blow them all up. Yeah. So this is from Fox News, and I really don't. Let's see if. Here's Newsweek. I don't think that's much better, but Meh. This is Newsweek. North Korea may have nuclear response if Kim Jong-un assassinated. North Korea has revised its constitution to require a nuclear strike if leader Kim Jong-un is killed or incapacitated in an attack, according to a report in the British newspaper The Telegraph. South Korean intelligence officials disclosed the constitutional change during a recent parliamentary briefing, according to British newspaper The Telegraph, saying Pyongyang has now formalized procedures for a retaliatory nuclear response if its leadership comes under attack. Pyongyang has been expanding its nuclear arsenal in recent years and adopting a more openly confrontational posture toward both South Korea and the United States. The revised Article 3 reportedly states that if North Korea's nuclear command and control system is threatened by a hostile attack, a nuclear strike shall be launched automatically and immediately. In a briefing to Parliament, South Korea's intelligence officials said the revisions explicitly outline conditions for nuclear use, including scenarios involving a decapitation strike against the regime's leadership. A decapitation strike is a military attack aimed at eliminating a country's leadership or command structure to disable its ability to respond or govern. The change was reportedly adopted during a session of North Korea's Supreme People's Assembly in March and later shared with the South Korean intelligence officials. I mean, here's my thinking is it's like you don't even allow people into your country. So who's gonna fucking assassinate you? Honestly, the dude's such a puppet too. Like, it's like, man, we want you in office. You know, like, we realize that whoever comes after you is probably might be a bit worse than you. You know? So we'll keep on playing the cards that were dealt here. Because we like this, you know, it's an occasional fireworks show once or twice a year where they test some weapons and everybody's like, "Hey, fucking stop." And he's like, he just flips everybody off, calls everybody pussies, and then goes back to telling the craziest tales of all time. He launches a nuclear strike and then tells everybody that North Korea created crab legs. And that he has no butthole, so he does not poop. I like the guy, personally. I think he's what the world needs. The world always has functioned better whenever you have a guy that's so unhinged that everybody's just like, just fucking leave him alone, you know? Let him do what he's gonna do. You know, he's like a yellow jacket or like a bee or like a wasper or whatever, you know, like he's, you know, your parents always told you growing up, hey, as long as you don't mess with it, it won't mess with you. And occasionally that was a lie, you know. Occasionally it would still just attack you no matter what. But it's like, look, those things they produce, you know, they pollinate flowers and shit. They do a lot of good. But just don't mess with them and they won't mess with you. And with him, it's like, hey, you know, he helps trade out in that region and, you know, he He gives us a lot of money for shit. So that's good. Just don't mess with him and he won't mess with you, you know? I also think it's funny, though, like how he fucks with people because just a couple weeks ago he invited the South Korean prime minister into North Korea. Like they literally stepped over the line. Like there's like the border that separates North and South Korea. And Kim invited the South Korean leader to step over the line, and they took a picture and had like a handshake of them like coming together. And then it's like not even like 2 weeks later, he's like, I will literally fucking nuke you. Like, I could give two shits less. Kill me and I'm fucking nuking you. Just so we're straight, you know, like, we're good. Like, it's okay. Nothing's gonna happen. But I will fucking destroy your entire country. We're fine. There's nothing to worry about. I will literally turn your entire country into a fucking baked potato. How do you deal with a person like that? Like, you gotta have some respect for it, you know? There's gotta be some respect there. It's like, yeah, he's fucking crazy. Like, he's unhinged. Does Kim Jong-un have a mother? Is she still alive? I know his dad's dead. Yeah. She died in 2004, though. Ko Young Hoi. Ko Young Hee. A dancer and mistress of former leader Kim Jong Il. She was Japan born and died in 2004, has largely been kept out of the official North Korean public record due to her background. Says she passed away in 2004, reportedly from cancer. So, you know. Do they even celebrate Mother's Day in North Korea? Is that even a thing? Let's find out. Yes, North Korea celebrates Mother's Day annually on November 16th. Established in 2012 by Kim Jong Un, it's a public holiday dedicated to praising mothers for raising children to serve the state. While celebrated with flowers and gifts, the day is heavily focused on loyalty to the regime rather than just personal appreciation. So everybody just says Happy Mother's Day to Kim Jong Un's mom. That's it. And then he does a press conference where he says, I will literally turn your country into a fucking pizza. Happy Mother's Day. Have a great day. Good night.